What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction, back with some more Benny, Bjorn, and Tim Rice from the concept album Chess, 1984. Thank you again to Robert. And the next track is Opening Ceremony, which sounds pretty straightforward, both in terms of the chronology of the narrative, but also in terms of the visual setting, which is to say a ceremony that begins the competition, perhaps full of some pageantry, maybe some geopolitical connotations, which is to say, I imagine in a contest like this, the idea would not be to make repeated references to the Cold War, but for the parties involved, and as we already heard with the previous track, maybe with some of the political authorities represented by individual chess players, the idea might be to inject the affairs which would otherwise be more innocuous or politically neutral with some of that geopolitical dynamic and adversarial type of attitude. Nevertheless, I do wonder if we'll get the perspective of multiple people from the opening ceremony, or whether this will be conveyed by an individual participant. So I'll see what I can catch on the first listen. This is Benny, Bjorn, and Tim Rice from the Chess soundtrack, or I suppose it was first the concept album, is what I think people said. And this is the tune Opening Ceremony.
At the start of the match, on behalf of all our sponsors, I must welcome you, which I do. There's a catch. I don't care if you're a champion, no one messes with me. I am ruthless in upholding what I know is right, black or white, as you see. I'm on a case, can't be fooled. Any objection is overruled. Yes, I'm the arbiter and I know best. He's impossible questions. You got your tricks, good for you, but there's no gambit I don't see through. Oh, I'm the arbiter, I know the score. From square one, we'll be watching on 64. If you're thinking of the kind of thing that we've seen in the past, chanting gurus, walking talkies, walkouts, hypnotists, tempers, fists, not so fast. This is not the start of World War III, no political ploys. I think both your constitutions are terrific, so now you know, be good boys. I'm on a case, can't be fooled. Any objection is overruled. Yes, I'm change his name. Take him to the cleaners and devastating, wiping out, humiliating. We don't want the whole world saying they can't even win the game. We have never reckoned on coming second. There's no use in losing. It's the US versus US. It's hard, yet more or less hard. To our credit, putting all that aside, we have swallowed our pride. Like this cannot be stressed. Can we test comrades ease the tension over drinks through sporting links as long as their man sinks?
A flute, maybe?
Live your life with Bishopbrook and Rye. In your teeth with checkered toothpaste, where are theirs?
Our kings and queens are bouncing rest. You can even buy a second word today. We are going to sell you something anyway.
The lyrics, as I'm catching them, are so clever. The composition, too.
We done all our market research and our findings show that this game of chess could be a round of or so. Maybe it's a bit confusing for a game, but Rubik's cubes are much the same. In the end, the whole
is an incredible piece. It's one which really does make me think of a musical stage production. So it's remarkable to me they wrote this album before there was actually a production that was done for the stage, although I do think that came later, right? So either way, I love the multi-sectional approach, and we do hear multiple sides. We start with the judge, the arbiter of all affairs, who wants to indicate very clearly that yes, you've got your tricks, which I like. So many lines in this seem to work on multiple levels, like the idea of having chess tricks. I mean, the game of chess itself, it's the game, the sport that they're playing to bridge the gap between East and West, between the US and the Soviet Union, and to show that they can engage in a friendly competition without it being super saturated with political values and, you know, representative of another theater of war. So he's saying, okay, you've got your tricks and you're playing chess, and that's all good for you, but I see through any gamut. Like, I'm the one who's going to be presiding over this, and I'm impartial, and indeed, like, you've got admirable values in both of your constitutions. So he's like saying, like, look, I can see the good and the bad in everything, and I can't be bought, I can't be bribed, I can't be blackmailed. I'm the one who knows the score, and I'll be watching from square one, which can mean the very beginning of something, but also square one on the chessboard, and he'll be overlooking all 64, which in the moment, I wasn't going into this remembering exactly how many squares there are on a chessboard, but I'm guessing it's 64. I'm guessing it's 8 by 8, right? So ultimately, he stakes out his neutrality and his impenetrable and unimpeachable authority, and also his inability to be swayed by what some people might see as the larger geopolitical context of the affairs. Then we go into what sounds like a classic Russian choral performance, and I think we're hearing the Soviet Union side that, look, you know, we are going to swallow our pride and recognize that this is a game, but we're also saying that it's unthinkable, the idea that we could lose this. And so there's a bit of their, you know, sort of, what's the right phrase, where they're paying lip service to their political neutrality here, but they're also indicating clearly that they see it as more than just a game of chess, and it's their idea that they can show that their way of doing things and their political culture is ultimately superior because it produces the best and most skilled and intelligent athletes, or in this case, you know, is like a chess player an athlete? It's being represented, again, like an opening ceremony to an Olympics where there's national pride, but also an understanding that this isn't the place to promulgate whose country is better, whose politics are better, and so on. So it's like dual layered. They're putting a good face on it, but there's lines that seem to indicate they're aware that there's more at stake here. And then we get the marching, almost like a John Philip Sousa type march, and the American side, the American delegation indicates their ideas about what's happening, and we get clever lines about, like, our market research shows, you know, the hyper capitalistic and commercial American attitude about the superiority of, you know, private enterprise and economic markets rather than a centralized state established way of doing things with, you know, nationalized industries and so on. And hey, we're going to sell you things. I think there was like a reference to Rubik's cubes and, you know, taking this game but mass marketing it and selling it. And so their idea seems to be that the US's superiority and the West's superiority is going to come through because they have the best approach. So both sides are, again, saying they recognize that this is a place where a contest is going to take place, and it's a mutually engaged contest that is devoid of these larger contexts, but then other lines indicate that both delegations are clearly wanting to win, to prove that they're right and to prove that their side of the Cold War is the best and will win. And then we go back into the judges' voice again, and now with a more rocking sound, and all, again, the vocals like seem to really kick up a notch. They reminded me of like some Phil Collins vocals or something, and he was singing with a bit more fire and rasp, and there was more of a rock and roll sound to it, which I suppose you could see more as like a Western, like American musical style. But nevertheless, I think it was just more the judge trying to once again reassert that all the things those two sides just talked about are not going to be able to persuade him to show favoritism to one side or another, and he really is this unimpeachable arbiter who will be watching for all tricks, including, any moves that might not be regulation, but also any attempts by the delegations to inject their attitudes and politics into this international and politically neutral event. So a really compelling track, multifaceted sonically, multifaceted vocally, and I did like the, classical operatic style Soviet, I think, like Russian choral type of singing, as well as the, again, like marching parade type singing, which was mostly female voices, it sounded like, from what I think was the American side, and then again, the solo vocals from the judge, especially in the second time around, were also compelling. So it just makes me want to watch chess. It makes me want to see this. So again, once I go through this entire compilation, there's much more Benny and Bjorn stuff to go. Again, thank you to Robert. But at some point down the line, it would be cool to do some video reactions, which I'm guessing will probably have to be on my Patreon, which is to say, a lot of the video reactions I do over on Patreon, which they're all posted there first, some of them are allowed to post here on YouTube. But because of the way I do it, where the content is the biggest part of the screen, and my bubble, like my face bubble, is just in the corner, because to me that seems the most appropriate approach, because the content is the point of what I'm reacting to. I think because of that, a lot of those video reactions are blocked here on YouTube. So in any case, we're talking about the future, but at some point it'd be cool to do a video reaction to a production of what eventually became the stage show, from what I understand. So yes, ultimately that was a really cool track. Let me know what you think of it, and I will see you next time. Peace.